Hi everyone, welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. And a bit like the one pre-Ascot, this is the one post-Ascot with just Steve Jones and I. Sort of quieter waters, as it always is this time of year with the Northumberland Plate. Yes, there's the Irish Derby. That's coming up on Sunday. We're going to be previewing the Saturday racing between Newcastle and Newmarket. 7 races for you. Steve, how's things? How was your Ascot?
Dreadful, but otherwise okay. Hence it's only the needy and the greedy this week. So hence everyone else is on holiday spending their winnings. Yeah, I couldn't get near it really. So apologies for that.
It was a tough Ascot, wasn't it? It was difficult. Don McLean smashed up the 34.0 winner triple time, and he had the winner of the Coventry as well. So he got off to a good start. I didn't do the closing pods, but on a personal level, I did find a few decent handicap winners, but I didn't find any of the sort of main bets, the main sort of that will win. Well, they didn't. So there you go. But all in all, I had the winner of the Prince of Wales, so that was something at a half decent price. But it was a look, I think many people made a load of money at Ascot because there were big price winners all in. That's going to change today, though, Steve. We're going to have a good weekend anyway. Yeah. We're going to start off with Newcastle. We're going to do Newcastle in its entirety. I'm going to remind you before we start to like and subscribe, because that's really important for us. If you like and subscribe, it makes your life easier, and it definitely makes our life easier. That's for all of our podcasts as well. So keep your eyes peeled across all sports. Right, the 12:20 at Newcastle kicks things off. Prices are as follows for this handicap over 6 furlongs. Ratea is 4.33. Lethal Levi is 5.5. 8.5 for Batal Dubai. Magical Spirit 9.0. Coachella 10.0. I sort of agree with you, Steve, in the fact that Ratea is going to be difficult to beat, but I've just chickened out a little bit and gone for one win and place. But you can make the case for the Fab, please, sir.
Yeah, Ratea is trained by Julie Camacho, who certainly had a better Royal Ascot than I did, because she had the Group 1 winner of the Commonwealth Cup, Shaquille, and Ratea, I think, runs in the same colours as well, the purple and white, and won this race last year. And won this race pretty impressively as well. So clearly likes the surface. That's a big thing on the all-weather. The turf form and the all-weather form, in my opinion, should be treated separately. But Ratea's got both because, like I say, won this race last year. And then last time out, won a competitive handicap, beating Emperor's Spirit, Nordic Nomadic Empire. And I thought that was a really nice effort, and coming into a race that we know that Ratea can win, I just thought he was the solid one at the top of the betting with the yard in form. So I just didn't want to take on the favourite here. It's summed it up. The second favourite is Lethal Levi, who I backed in the Wokingham and didn't get the clearest of runs, but was on the retreat, I think, at the time. But Lethal Levi is a horse that's stepping onto the all-weather for the first time. So I know which side of the fence I want to be on, and that's with Ratea.
Do you know why I backed in the Wokingham, Steve?
Go on.
St Lawrence.
Yeah, I can see St Lawrence. I've fallen out with St Lawrence many times.
I just looked at my smug face then when I said that. What a dick. I'm sorry. It's just filthy after timing.
It was like when it crossed the line, I thought, oh no, St Lawrence, and then it's gone seriously? To Archie. Yeah, I know.
Like seriously good back form has gone to Archie Watson, who's had a belting week, and I thought you had to be drawn high, even though I sort of got that wrong. So there you go. Anyway, there we are.
This is Tom Stanley, who said, "I've got to be done by 5:30," and then he spent half of it crowing about his Ascot winners.
Right. Oh, listen, there was one of 2 handicap winners. Otherwise, I was yeah. First day, I landed nothing, and they were findable. Right. Yeah, Magical Spirit for me. I didn't want to oppose Ratea as such, but I thought win and place Magical Spirit's got a good course and distance record. That Bielsa form's really good and ran well. And he probably just wanted them to go a bit harder, really. I think this stiffer 6 will suit. He is a course and distance winner. And I think they'll go hard as well. So whether he'll get past Rotea, I don't know. But I thought Magical Spirit. I was half interested in the other Kevin Ryan horse, Ali's Dancer, but then I looked back at that Bielsa race and Magical Spirit beat his stable companion on merit. So Magical Spirit for me, win and place at 9.0, but I can see Rotea definitely. 12.55, we agree. We agree on a few here. We agree with the William Haggis horse. The prices are as follows. Time of Flow now heads the betting. That wasn't the case yesterday. At 4.5, 5.0 for Brad the Brief. Mount Athos is 5.5. Spy Catcher 5.5. Witch Hunter 6.0, and bigger prices thereafter. The case for me with Time of Flow is yes, course and distance winner, but I thought just had the better form with the likes of well held behind Jumbie towards the back end of last year, but then Rohan, Garrus, Creative Force last time. I think a test over this distance is exactly what the horse wants, and the yard are really picking up now. So I thought the horse should be favourite, and Brad the Brief was when I looked at the race. He's now half a point favourite, but I'd still rather be with Time of Flow, Steve.
Oh, absolutely. You go back to Time of Flow's all-weather form. First three starts on the all-weather, albeit in lesser races, but then ended with over course and distance last spring by being short-headed by Al Caballo. That's really good form with the likes of Anaf behind, and that shows you the level that Time of Flow is capable of. And on turf, I mean, won a listed race at Newbury, and then we're stepping into the group races, the Commonwealth Cup, and like you say, didn't run all that great behind Jumbie, but that was over 7. I think a test over 6 is what Time of Flow got, and that's exactly what Newcastle is. It's the stiffest of the all-weather tracks, and a perfectly respectable comeback behind Creative Force. So I'm with you. I think Time of Flow should be favourite, is favourite, deserves to be favourite. I think he'll probably win.
Let's hope we're right. That's the 12.55 done. Were they a bit quiet at the yard for you, Steve? And have they picked up a bit? Like the strike rate wouldn't necessarily indicate they picked up. I don't know. I just feel from watching that they weren't on their A game and they're just getting towards it now. That's sort of my feeling, anyway.
Yeah, William Haggis is a proper trainer. He does things properly, the patient way. You would imagine that horses would always progress through the season with William Haggis, as they should. I don't think he's ever a man that is particularly out of form. He's an exceptional trainer, but they are going well at the moment.
Okay, that's William Haggis's horse. Next up is the 130, the Northumberland Vars handicap, a 75 grand race. I say that because it's notable that Blow Your Horn is here at 5.0 because he has been running in the Sunday series at Beverley, at Pontefract, and he's won 2 races. Now, that means that there are 2 races he can win, one at Haydock, one at Sandown, and he'll win 100 grand bonus if he does that. So the thing with those races is the race at Haydock is a 0 to 85. The race at Sandown is a 0 to 95. Now, he won his last race off 77. So what's he gonna get for winning that? Well, he'll probably go up to early 80s, and then if he wins this, he's not going to get into the Haydock race. It's just interesting that they're willing to forego the chance of 100 grand to run here. The other point is there's another horse in line for the bonus, and if that horse wins it first, i.e., if Ian Williams is thinking I'll wait for Sandown, well, that's nigh on 2 months away. The bonus might be gone. I think it's almost odd they're running here, but I suppose it is still a 75 grand pot. Maybe they think they've got a chance of both. I thought that was worth pointing out. I love this horse. I think he will absolutely hammer them. I think he's got so much in hand that I almost don't even want to look through the rest of them. And at 5.0, he's comfortably my best bet of the day. And I'm thinking that Ian Williams just thinks we'll take this and we'll still win the bonus. What do you think, Steve?
Well, you've thought about it a lot more than I have with Blow Your Horn. What you're saying, in essence, is that you think that to get into the bonus race at Haydock, they're going to have to show that the handicapper that the £6 penalty is too much, and that he shouldn't give them too much money.
Well, the thing is, I've got half a mind that. So you've still got time, depending if he'll get into the Haydock race he'll get into the Sandown race no matter what. So I think he's forgoing the chance at Haydock to running this for 75 grand under the penalty, where he's better treated now, if that makes sense, compared to going for Haydock, where he probably won't get in, but he'll still get into the Sandown race, which is the 0 to 95. So that's their best chance of winning the most money, to win this and then win the bonus at Sandown. Do you see what I mean?
I do. I was
basically. I think
half
the horse.
Joking.
I think. All right. I think the horse has got a shed load in hand, an absolute shed load in hand.
He's certainly a very progressive stare. What would worry me slightly is that this is 3 for a stayer. 3 runs in 3 weeks is tough, and he's up against a few other progressive horses. And one of those I think is particularly interesting is Thermoscope, who has a fascinating profile. Didn't show hardly anything in Ireland, then came over for was trained by Sheila Lavery, owned by John Lavery, and he sent it for 1 run for Brian Ellison, won at Newcastle over this course and distance, then moved to Keith Dalgleish for a different owner, was obviously sold. Absolutely bolted up at Musselburgh back in May by 9 lengths. Okay, that wouldn't have been the most competitive race. And then last time, I think they were just lining Thermoscope up for this race because they dropped him back to 1 mile and 5 at Hamilton, which was never going to be far enough. Back to 2 miles. I think this is definitely a worthy opponent to blow your horn. I think he's got a great chance. He's got the fact that he's won on the all-weather and won well on the all-weather, so you don't worry about that form. Although Blow Your Horn, it's got plenty of form on the all-weather. There's a case for saying the return to the turf is improved. That's where the improvements come. So, yeah, Thermoscope, I think he's got a pretty good chance, and certainly about 9.0. If you want to, if you like betting those sort of horses winning place, then yeah, go for it. But I think he's got a great chance.
The other thing to mention on Blow Your Horn is, I think they were campaigning him for this Sunday series to try and rack up some wins there. So that would be why I feel that in those sort of springtime he maybe was not hitting the heights, if you like. And we don't know how well in he is here because he hasn't been reassessed yet, but I would suggest he's probably going to be. So he's running off his Doncaster mark, which is 70 plus the £7 penalty for winning 3 races. So I reckon he's going to be 6 probably 6 well in. So anyway, I hope he wins because I think he's.
You don't have to wait for the handicapper to tell you how well in he is if you think he's right.
No, you're right.
Official ratings don't mean anything, Tom.
He loves that. Blow Your Horn for me, and Steve is with Thermoscope. Did you give a price for Thermoscope, Stephen?
I think 9.0. Am I about the right mark?
You're so right. So right. Okay. 2 mile half a furlong for the Northumberland Plate itself. You can kick us off here, Steve. Who do you like? And then I'll give you a price.
Yeah, I like this race. This is a real one of my favourite races. I don't know why, but I just like these staying handicaps. And
did you prefer it on the turf?
It had do you know what? It had a huge draw bias on the turf. You had to be drawn near the rail, so it's made it fair. I think if we're talking about the all-weather, I think that they should, like they did when Kamiko won it, they should run the Doncaster Group 1 2-year-old race that's run after Champions Day at Newcastle on the all-weather, and I think it would be a lot. I think it'd be well received. It's harsh on Doncaster, I know, because I'd run the November handicap on the all-weather as well and cut the turf season at Champions Day and give it a final thing. So I'm not against running the big races on the all-weather, and I think it's done well, the Northumberland Plate on the all-weather. I mean, Trusham won it last year, so you're getting quality horses. Vino Victrix is my fancy this year, who has got plenty of all-weather form. He was runner-up a couple of times at Kempton, and Kempton wouldn't really be his track. It's a bit too sharp for him, but the form of those was really good. I thought they were really solid runs. He was beating a short head in the second of them, and only 3/4 of the length in the previous one, and it's solid form. He went on to win at Goodwood. This is last season. This season, dreadful form, all out of form, but it's come on very testing ground. And now he's dropped a little bit in the weights. I think he's about to hit form after those couple of runs. He's also had a nice break since the last of them. Benoit Delasay gets on well with him. And if you go back to last season, he's now just a pound higher than when he was runner-up in the Cesarovic, which is 2 miles 2 at Newmarket. So he thrives on a test of stamina, which he's going to get. He's got that form in big handicaps, finishing second in the Says to run for Oscar, which is good for him. He had Zoffy 4 lengths behind him that day, and Zoffy's half the price. So with excuses for this season's runs, Vino Victrix at 17.0, something like that.
Yes, indeed. I hadn't read out Matthew's comment. Golden rules for the plate, he said. Good luck with golden rules. Matthew, thank you. This is the... what price is golden rules? 7.0. 7.0 for Deborah Faulkner. Picked up for next to nothing, this horse, and won on first start for her small team. So good luck to her. Adjuvant for me is probably my least favourite horse currently in training because I am yet to get him right. Back end of, as the season developed last year, so I backed him at Goodwood, left him alone at York when he finished third at a big price, and then backed him at Haydock and York. And just for fun, I backed him on reappearance at Newmarket, and he was a next second. And then I didn't back him last time because I was like, I'm not backing this horse's favourite, and he absolutely hacked up. So I'm with him today. I haven't got him right yet, but I think this is just the sort of test he wants. Billy Loughnane back on board. He had a sighter on him first start of the season. I know there's not a massive draw bias here, but they do. I don't think you want to be really wide because they do funnel in straight out the gates, don't they? The track sort of closes up a bit. I just think really wide is difficult.
The problem is with being. It used to be on turf, you wanted to be on the inside, but I think with the all-weather surfaces, I do think they're deeper on the inside by the rail, and I think that's why you want to try and get a position. I would always hope to get one off the rail, and then you've got options as well. So I think that's why the draw bias isn't so black and white.
I agree. I almost think you want to be, a bit like the Derby. You want to be off the rail and not too far back, I think, ideally. Anyway, I think that's where Adjuvant will be. And we'll come back to that for our long shots later on. Adjuvant is 7.5. All right. We're going to Newmarket now, the 12.40. I haven't got a bet. The only thing I'll say about it is I couldn't back a Charlie Appleby horse at the moment. This horse is 2.1 Star of Mystery. But his 2-year-olds are absolutely flying. Their strike rate's ridiculous, where most of his winners have been. All in all, I want to leave the race alone, but I can see her bolting in, but it's not for me, Steve. Who do you like?
Well, I'm definitely against the favourite at those prices. Do you know what? His strike rate is unbelievable, as you're saying. But in the last 2 weeks, how many winners has he had that haven't been odds on?
Oh yeah, they're not right.
One winner out of dozens that they've all been like 1 to 6, 1 to 3. I mean, they can't help but win, most of them. And you're backing a horse in a listed race, in a deep listed race, and this has been won by some good horse. Lizou won it last year, and you're backing a Charlie Appleby horse who was beaten by Carla's Way first time up at Doncaster. Carla's Way was sent off favourite for the Albany and finished in midfield. And then next time, Breaking His Duck, again, the Charlie Appleby way at 1-3, won by 11 lengths. What exactly did she beat? I mean, no one knows. So I want to be against Star of Mystery. And the horse that I've come down on is Unbreak My Heart of Clive Cox's. There was two. I think they both kind of have opposite profiles. Dunruth Diamond was another one that I thought might be interesting. But Dunruth Diamond, I think, will be a 7 furlong horse. And I'm hoping Unbreak My Heart will stay 6 furlongs. I'm not totally convinced, but I think there's certainly a chance that she will. She didn't like the ground at Bath last time. It was officially firm. It's certainly not going to be that at Newmarket. And I just thought she was feeling it a little bit, especially up the final climb. But she still got on top to win. She's got talent, this filly. First time up, she ran in a conditions race, not a novice or a maiden. She won in a conditions race. And behind Relief Rally and Juniper Berries. And Relief Rally went within a whisker of winning the Queen Mary at Ascot. And Juniper Berries ran well in it as well, finished 4th. So the form stacks up on that. And if Unbreak My Heart does stay the 6 furlongs, I think she's got a great chance, much better than her price with the favourite suggests. I think they've gone mad for the favourite here. So I couldn't resist having a bet in it because I think the market is skewed. And at 11.0, win in place, I think you can go Unbreak My Heart.
Who sang that, Steve? Unbreak My Heart, do you remember?
No, I don't. Rick Astley?
No, it was Tony Braxton, wasn't it?
Tony Braxton, was it? Yeah, sure. I do. They play a lot on Smooth Radio.
Do they? Yeah, I bet they do. That is because it's pretty smooth.
Smooth. A bit like me. That's why I listen to it. That
is you. Yeah. We'll clip that up. We'll clip a still up of that face you just pulled. Yeah, that race isn't for me. I think it's trappy as heck. I'm quite excited about my bet in this, Steve, and you agree. The 115, it's the Cavani Menswear Sartorial Sprint Fred Archer Stakes. The Fred Archer Stakes, the best bit of commentary ever. You know the Tomo commentary with Fred Archer, don't you? And they're in the gates for the Fred Archer Stakes. Fred Archer, genius, blew his brains out, and they're off.
Dave Yates did an exceptionally good documentary on Fred Archer on Racing TV. You can find it on YouTube. It's well worth a watch. People like Smart Prescott pop up and all sorts. It was excellent and a fascinating story with Fred Archer and a fascinating race where I think I'm really confident that.
Here's my process of elimination. New London, wind up, tongue tie, couldn't touch. Kamari.
When didn't Charlie Godolphin horses have wind operations? Not too many for me. Native Trail had 2 runs and they drew stumps. So I'd be very suspicious about him.
Kamari probably interests me more, but I don't know. We talked about the Appleby team. Al Arsi, I think he's probably the best horse in the field, but 420 days off the track, and I think he wants cut. And we've got drying ground. And it dries quick at Newmarket. Outbox, did Outbox win it last year? I think he did. Anyway, he's won course and distance, maybe. But Phantom Flight, like this at 10.0, he's the only one I can back, Steve.
Yeah, I think there's definite reasons for it. The winner of this race last year went on to win at the Breeders' Cup.
It wasn't Outbox that won it last year, but there you go. He's won over
Rebels Romance.
Right, exactly. Yeah, for Charlie. Yeah.
Yeah, but Phantom Flight. So you go back to last year, was 3rd to New London in a really hot handicap at the Newmarket July meeting, albeit beaten 3 and a bit lengths, getting £4, but he's getting £5 in this weekend's race. So he's not a million miles off New London. And then he absolutely bolted up at York. And I thought, this is a good horse. I'm following this horse. I think this is a group horse. This season, they've stuck to 1 mile and 2, and he's found trouble in races. And the problem is he hasn't got the gears to get himself out of that trouble, even though they've been small fields behind the likes of Fox's Tails. When he was just behind Rogue Millennium, who obviously won the Duke of Cambridge at Royal Ascot. So that form stacks up again. And he should have finished an awful lot closer because he got stuck behind the leader who was coming back into his lap and he lost his position. And similar happened at Goodwood. He couldn't get the right, he couldn't get daylight at the right time. He was just tightened up a little bit. And again, he doesn't have the gears to do that. But he is going to improve a lot, I think, going up to 1 mile and 4. He'll get a good pace to aim at because Outbox likes to make the running, and Kamari is presumably in there to do a similar job for New London. And that will play into the hands of Phantom Flight, I'm sure. James Horton, who's had obviously a pretty tricky start to the season, but his horses are starting to really go now. So Phantom Flight, I think, has always had the potential to be this sort of level, if not higher. And I think he's been totally overlooked.
Yeah, he's good. He got to appreciate a step up to 1.5 miles. That's how he looked last time. And barring a blowout at the back end of last year, his last start on quick ground on the turf was very impressive. So, yeah, with you, 10.0. Thank you very much. And then the 150 is the criterion. We agree here as well, Steve, I'm afraid. A caveat to my bet on Pogo is that I just hope Audience doesn't go forward, because my view here is that Pogo will revert to front running tactics over 7, a trip at which is his best. And I'd much rather back him than Aldari off the back of an absence. For all Aldari looked impressive, but quickening ground might be against him. And Pogo at 4.33, I hope to dominate. I thought was just about a bet, but I'm not as confident as I was with Phantom Flight.
Oh, no, I am. Aldari on this, if it does dry out like it's suggested it will, I can't have an Aldari, even though he's got a really good record fresh. It's all soft, heavy ground form. And Pogo won this race last year. If Audience does go forward, and he probably will, I think they'll just sit up sides. What's the point of each other taking each other on? I mean, they'll just sit up sides and try and...
Do you think he definitely will, Audience?
Well, he might do. I'd imagine so. I'd imagine they'll just sit up sides and go an even pace, and then it's the best horse wins, and I think that's Pogo. I think last year's race was better. Sacred was the runner-up last year, and Pogo just got in front and kept going. And since then, it's been to America, it's been to Dubai. And then I thought it was interesting, they ran this horse over 1 mile in the Queen Anne at Royal Ascot, I think. And they held Pogo up that day. I mean, that's not Pogo at all. I think that was just an exercise gallop. But he was 125 to 1. I think that was an exercise gallop to line him up for this race. And he's got an exceptional record at Newmarket. He's unbeaten in 2 starts at the July course. And if you look at the Rowley Mile, which isn't a million miles different, it's kind of, I mean, they're next door to each other. So the configurations are very similar with the dip and then the rise. And he's won twice in the Rowley Mile, and he's finished second on the other 3 occasions behind the likes of Ben Battle. So he loves the course. He won the race last year. He'll just get in front or sit up sides Audience. I'd imagine he'd be able to get in front and just keep rolling, and I think that'd be good enough. I would have him favourite, and I would have him a strong favourite. So fill your boots time, I think, because the prices he is, he's 4 point something, isn't he?
4.33.
I think that's extraordinary that he's so far apart. He's got a hell of a lot more ticks in the right boxes than the favourite Aldari has.
The other thing is that I suppose because the stalls are in the centre, so it's not as if he's going to be cramped for room on a rail being taken on. You got the width of the track, and I think he ran at Ascot fundamentally because the owners like a day out. They've been all around the world with the horse, and I'm pretty sure that's why he's ran in that race before. I think they wanted an Ascot runner. There you go. Good. That's our previews race-wise done. Matchbook Zero long shot now. Remember Matchbook Zero, if you haven't checked it out, it's well worth doing. There's zero margin, there's zero commission. So you're most likely to be getting best odds with the nature of the Matchbook exchange anyway, because it's an exchange. But then you've got to factor in commission where you don't with Matchbook Zero. £20, win-only bets up to £20, and the market goes live on 10 a.m. on the day. That is well worth looking out for if you fancy anything that you want to have up to 20 quid on, particularly as a long shot. And we've got a long shot each in the feature at Newcastle. Mine, Steve, is Aztec Empire, who is drawn wide, but won't race too far back. Harry Davis, hopefully he can get over and get handy. And he's got that profile of a few previous winners of this race, a 4-year-old with not much weight on his back. And he's returned to a synthetic surface, which I think he's better on. He's about 34.0. Yours, Steve?
Not such a big price, but Vino Victrix be about 17.0 in the Northumberland Plate 205 Newcastle.
A lay. I can't really lay the Appleby filly. She was the one I got closest to. You can, Steve.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Star of Mystery. I'm not sure what she's achieved, and she's going into a listed race full of last time out winners and horses that have got good form. So, yeah, I'm against Star of Mystery at the prices. I think she's far too short at 2.25. Okay,
my best bet for Saturday is Blow Your Horn for all the extensive reasons I've said earlier, and I'm probably completely wrong, but 1:30 at Newcastle, Blow Your Horn. Well in, very progressive. Yours, Steve?
You love blowing your horn, don't you? Mine is Pogo, and I think this is an exceptionally good price at 4.33 in the 150 at Newmarket. Won the race last year and absolutely loves Newmarket.
Any other bets across the weekend, Steve? I don't. You do.
Yeah, Air to Air at Newcastle in the 240. I think the race will be set up for Air to Air, who's got good all-weather form and trained by George Bowie, ridden by Billy Loughnane, and you go back, he's run really well on the all-weather without winning, and just hasn't had things setting up for Air to Air, and I think they will in the 240. There's a lot of front runners in there, the likes of Wob 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 and Zip and the Gatekeeper. They'll make this a proper test, and Air to Air, I think, be coming through under Billy Loughnane, time the run to perfection.
Lovely. Looking forward to it all. As our producer points out, if you're wondering why there's the early starts on ITV Racing, it's because of the England Women's World Cup warm-up and the Tour de France, just to let you know. Very sporty is Daniel Hussey. Knows all about it. Good stuff. And he will have the insights column up for you soon enough, which will have a list of all of our best bets, our lays as well. Hopefully it's a profitable weekend for us. Steve, pleasure as always. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Everyone, have a good weekend.
He's so smooth. Bye.